Hi crafty friends, this is Cheap. I'm here. So today I'm going to show you my process of how I make my dangles. I've had a couple people reach out to me and asked if I could kind of slow it down and kind of show them how I make my chunky monkey dangles. So this one is already done, and I'll be making another one. So I will show you everything that I do. Okay guys, so this is the process I do. First off, I get a big, well, it doesn't have to be big, but I get just some kind of container. I figure out what colors I'm going with, what kind of scheme I'm going with, and I just put all my beads in a container. Now this looks like a lot, but this is enough for 3 different dangles. So I just put like 3 of everything in, sometimes 6 of everything, just depending on what I want. This doesn't need to go in there. And I just start putting all my beads together in a thing. And then the next step is I just start doing wire wrapping. Now I don't get too intricate. I do things pretty easy. I like to use a looping tool. You can get these at Amazon or Hobby Lobby. I got mine on Hobby Lobby. Just a couple so I keep all my beads in this container, and then I have all my different type of wires. So I have ones that have a looped end that are longer. I have these type of head pins. I have shorter head pins, even shorter, and I have some that have, where'd they go? Some that have a ball at the end, but I tend to find that most they're a little too malleable, and most of the beads fall off of those anyway. So what I do is I put on a good show and I start wrapping, and I have 3 different containers, so I make sure I do all of the same one at the same time so I can even them out and put one of each in my containers so that I know this is one dangle, this is the next dangle, this is another dangle. So I'll show you a little bit of the process and it'll be sped up. And I'll pop in here and there to show you some specialty ones, like how to do a pom-pom. I guess I can do that one real quick. So probably take one this size. There's a couple different ways that you can do pom-poms. If you put one, if you put this right through the pom-pom, there's a chance that it could pull off and pull all the way through. So I like to do a flatter bead. So you can take a heishi bead like this. You can use some kind of other bead if you want, a ball, just a smaller bead. I typically try to do a heishi bead. Oh, this one, see what I mean? So that one's still gonna need a small bead at the end. So these are all my bigger beads, and off to the side here I have a container. Let me move some stuff. So I have a container like this, and this keeps all my smaller beads. So I have this is a newer container full of heishi beads. I have a smaller seed beads in here that I just don't have in containers yet. These are just some other smaller beads that I had already divvied out for Halloween. I have seed beads. I have these clay bit beads. I really like these type of containers. This is from Hobby Lobby. I didn't dig into these beads to put in my thing yet, so I'll probably still dig into those. This is a little bit of faceted beads. Most of these are from either Hobby Lobby or Temu, more seed beads. And then these are round beads. But I like this because I can just keep them in here, and I keep them off to the side while I'm while I'm doing the bigger beads, so that I can add beads to them. You know what I mean? The smaller ones. And I just find it a pain in the ass to divvy out a whole bunch of little ones out of these. So I just keep them off to the side so I can dig into them. So that being said, I'm gonna put this on like fast forward so it's not so long, and you can just kind of watch me. If you have questions, you can let me know. But if I have something I need to talk about more in detail, more detail to, I'll add that in here as well. But anyway, I'm gonna get into it. Also, don't be afraid to like just kind of lay things out and see how they're gonna look. Like if you have multiple different beads and you're just kind of questioning how things might look, don't be afraid to play around with some. Like this one, I'm gonna need a smaller bead on the bottom, but will I like, you gotta play. Sometimes you just gotta play. Like I don't really care for those like that. So I think like that. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, a pink bead on the top. It doesn't hurt to play around and see what you might like and what you don't like. Some things will be cute, some things won't. It's just all personal preference. So yeah, don't be afraid to play. Sometimes you'll surprise yourself at what you might like and what you don't like. You know? I mean, you have like so many beads to play with. Nope, I don't like that one either. I'll find one eventually that I like on top. Oh, that one's too big. Oh, maybe I want a little. Nope. Yeah, sometimes you'll find stuff that you like, sometimes you won't. Like, you won't always like the combo, but you'll figure it out. Okay, so now that you have all your beads ready to go, this is what I do. I take whatever kind of clasp I'm using. Today I'm using these gold clasp, and I got one like bigger jump hoop. I think those are these are jump rings. So jump ring, jump hoop, whatever you want to call it. So I get one bigger one. I have this chain. I've had this for a while. This one came from Michael's, I think, but you can pick it up anywhere. And I kind of judge about how long I want it. I'm gonna kind of judge because I've already got one done. So I'm gonna say about there. You can use a thicker chain if you want. I don't know. I found this one. It was on clearance, and this has just worked really well for me. So I've just kind of kept it. All right, so I take my chain. I know some of this stuff will be kind of basic stuff, but I don't know what people are missing and what they're not missing. So if if I'm talking stuff that you already know, then just kind of scoot on forward a little bit. But this is what I start with. So I get all my beads. I usually kind of dump them out here and see what I've got. Now I probably won't, I don't think I used all of, so I've already got one done, right? So these are all the beads that I didn't end up using. So I used most of them, and then I created this I am doing a pastel-ween. It is a witch theme, so I also made this, and I'm putting this off to the side because I'll probably use this on one of my embellishments or a package or my, you know, bag or whatever I do. So my loaded tote. So that's set aside. So yeah, I'm gonna put that aside. What else did I not use? I didn't use that pom-pom. I didn't use this. Nope, I didn't use this. So yeah, I just take out some stuff that I didn't use, and I'll probably still end up using these on the embellishments that I'm creating for the swap, or possibly something else. I'm not quite sure yet, but that's just my process. I just wire up a whole bunch, and if I don't end up using it, whatever I don't grab, I either, again, use within my swap as something, or I just kind of have a little tub that has stuff that's already wire wrapped. So when I do this process, I just have a few less things that I have to do. So that's basically it. All right, so now that I have things kind of laid out, what I do is this. So you get your jump rings. I use like, I don't know, it's like a medium. They're not too small, but they're not too large. I don't know what millimeter they are. They're usually like in the middle somewhere. I'm not quite sure. So I get a bunch of these out, and what I start, if you want your dangle to make noise, you have to have some kind of bells on there. So if you want it to jingle, you have to have some kind of bells. I happen to have these large orange ones. I usually choose whatever my largest bead or charm or whatever it is. I usually put that at the bottom. That's just my preference. Yeah, that's just how I do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this bell at the bottom. But yeah, if you want your dangle to make pretty dangly noises, put a couple bells on there. Just has to be one. These pumpkin bells don't really jingle too much, so I do have another bell that I'll end up putting on here as well. So this is my base, right? Now what I like to do, and this is just me, you can do it completely different. They're not going to be exact, but they will have all the beads. But what I like to do is I just kind of lay things out. I like to use my little, so you want all different sizes. So you want longer ones. I like to have ones that have double hoops so I can, or loops so I can hang more off of them. But what I like to do is I just kind of lay out my longer little sections like so. I do tend to put more of like the bigger stuff towards the bottom, well, lower quarter. I wouldn't put it right close to the bottom. So I do that. What else do I want to do? Oh, I have this guy. Put this one over here. I have this guy. All right, so I'm gonna start like that. I have these guys too. I mean, I just made the other one, so I kind of know where they're at. Again, it's not gonna be exactly the same, but it is gonna be pretty similar. So that's kind of what I do. I try to start with my longer ones first, and then I fill in my shorter ones. Kind of like that, and then I just start attaching. Okay, so this is our beginnings. You can see it's starting to form. So now I just kind of, all right, so now anything that has like a little extra loop at the bottom, I like to add to those first. You don't have to, that's just what I do. But don't be afraid to take like different things. Like this is a sequin. I've used bat sequins before, but this is spider web, and I'm gonna put it on the end of this little spider web bead. Like so. What else do I have? I have this guy. What else do I have? I also like to like use the charms that I'm using. So let's see this one. Where's that charm? Oh, there it is. So oops. So I have this guy, and I like to put my charms at the end of little dangles as well, because I feel like sometimes if you put the charms too close to the base, like if you attach it right to the base chain, sometimes you just don't get to see those. So I like to put my dangle, or like my charm, my enamel charms, at the end of one of those loop beads. Like that. So you continue to do that. Don't be afraid to pick it up and see how it's falling, see how it looks, and where you want things to go. But I just kind of fill in. My trick, or what I do, you can do it totally different, is I never double put things on the chain loops. So they're always on their own section of the chain, the base chain. I never double them up. I don't know why. I just don't. I feel like I get a better look that way, and it feels fuller that way. You can do whatever you want, but that's kind of how I do it. So I'm just going to continue to fill it in, and you know, I'll try not to go too fast. If anybody has any questions, definitely let me know down in the comments. So this might be a longer video. I'll put some timestamps in the description below so that you can fast forward it. But I know a couple people asked me to do it kind of a slowed down session. So I guess I'll do it in real time. But I guess we could always do a live. If you're really interested, we could do it live, where you've prepped all your beads and we're just kind of putting them together. We can do something like that if anybody is interested. What else do I have? Again, I make sure that I look at my other dangle that I've done so that I get them pretty much the same. I mean, is anybody going to compare and contrast them? No, but I like to have them pretty similar, or at least like the bead orientation. Are they going to fall in the exact same spots? No, but all the sections and all the beads that are together will look the same. Yeah, don't be afraid to use your little like Hishi beads, the little, like, I call these like sweetheart type of beads, stars. This one I got from somebody else. I don't know how exactly they made it. It looks like they just took some Hishi beads and lined them all up and then wrapped them and this like foil and then tied it. That just seemed like a lot of work, but I took some off of the dangle that was made for me because they're so cute, and I wanted to share. But like I have like little gummy bear beads. I just have all different kinds. And yeah, I'm just gonna be just placing them on. Oops. Again, I pick it up multiple times and really look at it. So, oops, it looks like I got one that I didn't even really attach. Okay. And once you get a lot of like your longer ones on, then I really start kind of filling in like with my thicker base beads. Like, so the beads that are not like doubled up, like, so you have like stuff like this, you have stuff like this. These will kind of bulk it up because it splays these, it forces the longer ones to go out and displaces them a little bit. I know that that's kind of weird, but it does. I also like to use pom-pom beads too because they help do that same thing. Is like a fluffer, I guess. It helps like expand and make your dangle look even chunkier. So I have that bell at the bottom. I'm gonna put this other bell right towards the top. I like these little bells because they really give it that like dangle sound. Hear it already? Don't be afraid to layer up. So if you have a pom-pom and then a regular bead, you can do that. There's so many different things that you can do. I'll show you this one long one that I have going on over here. So I took this bead and I attached, what did I attach to it? I attached a candy bead. I attached this bead. And then I attached what charm did I? Oh, I attached this charm to the bottom. By doing different sections, even though it is a long section, because it's broken up, it's really pliable and bendable, so it will still fall nicely in within your dangle. No matter where you put it, it will still fall pretty nice because it is sectioned, instead of if this was just one long head pin, it would be very stiff and it would kind of stick out like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, it would come away and stick out straight from your dangle, where since it's sectioned, it will fall nicely. So it doesn't matter where you would put that one, it will still fall nice. Again, I pick it up so many times to look at it and see, like, I don't know, where it needs more, where I feel like it needs more, like a thicker bead to kind of thicken it out, make it chunkier. Don't be afraid if you don't like something to take it off, replace it. There's really no rhyme or reason. This is just how I do things, and it ends up working very well for me. Let's see, where do I want some other things? So I have this section attached to one of these. I really like to experiment and see how things will look. And I have this attached to it. And then I also have this little flower attached. Where do I have it attached? Right here. I feel like I need some fullness towards the top, so I'm going to take some thicker beads. I still need some up here. So once it's starting to get pretty thick, I basically just look for any space on the main chain and put something there. So if there's a link that has nothing, that's where I add something to it. Where do I have some other things? Again, I like to get it somewhat similar, so if it's got... I like to at least have them similar. They might not be in the same exact spot on the chain, but I like it to be pretty similar. Get out again.
see how it's looking. Sometimes you gotta like shake it so that the little strands lay right, and you can see where you need fillers. My first one always takes me a lot longer than my second one because I'm really placing it out, and the second one I'm just kind of copying. And when you're just getting down to the last little bit, again, I just look for any spaces that don't have anything. And that's it. These little suckers can be slippery. I use those two, so let's find a spot.
There you go. So there's that. I probably only have maybe a few links that don't have anything on there, and that's probably because they're hiding. But yeah, see, like these longer ones, see how they just kind of fall because they're in sections. I don't know, this is just kind of how I do things. You can move things around, but if you give it a good shake, I like a long chunky. I like most of my chunk towards the bottom, like it tapers down. There's so many different styles. I know that Crafting Concruz does hers completely different. I don't know, I think the hardest part is really just wire wrapping all your beads. Again, I do mine pretty simple. I just use this. I'm not a big wire wrapper, and I just kind of put on a show or listen to a book, and I just wrap them all at once and then add them to my dangle. Because if you're wrapping and adding, I feel like it's more time consuming and can get a little overwhelming. And like I make sure, like, of course I did not use all my beads, so there are still some in here, but again, I'll use this within my swap, hopefully, in certain areas. See, there's still some left in here that I didn't end up using, and I'll just put back. So you don't have to use everything that you pull out, but by having different size sections or different like sized multiple beads together, layered up, you just get a really cool look. And yeah, I definitely like play with things and see how they're gonna lay. what color combination I want and stuff like that. But I'm not afraid to use wood beads. I'm not afraid to use like cheaper beads, pom-poms, heishi beads, seed beads, you know, sequins. I even have some sequins in here on the bottom of some beads. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to see them now. But just to give it some, you know, texture and differences. You don't have to have super expensive beads. I don't buy beads unless they're really on sale. Or, you know, I get them in embellishment boxes. Like, these are just cheap little star beads. You can really dress up your beads and make them look really cool. Yeah, and like this one, if this one is so small and the hole is so small, if I had put this on the center chain, it would just get lost and you wouldn't see it. But by dangling it off of another section of beads, it gets seen. I'm not afraid to mix my metals using golds and silvers. Yeah, I definitely have like, you know, a silver star, but the base is gold. I try to mix it up. I will use like a majority of gold. It seems like most enamel charms are gold, but some of them aren't. So like this one is gold, but there's a bat on here that's silver. And are you really going to notice the difference? No. So, and it could help that I mix my metal a little bit, and it helps blend it in. But, you know, that is, you know, that. If you have any questions, let me know below. If you really want, like, I don't know, if there's enough people that really want to sit around and work on their dangles together, we can maybe do maybe some kind of Skype, or we can do a live if you have questions and I can try to answer them. So, but that is how I do it. It's really not that hard. It's really just being gaudy and adding as much stuff on there as you want, like all different types of beads. And I do think that having like multiple sections of them really help with the chunk, but also let it lay nice. But that is how I do it, and this is how I make my chunky dangles. If you have any questions, let me know below. But if not, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.